So I keep hearing from you guys that you're afraid to try out reactors because they might explode, which, yes, that's a possibility, but it's not really that easy to do unless you don't test out your builds beforehand. So I'm just going to show you some basic things to help your reactor not explode. Let's start with the basics of what a reactor is. A reactor is a reactor chamber with as many as 5 reactor chambers attached. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 6 would go, and 6. This increases the size of the nuclear reactor to allow you to build bigger and better reactors with more power output. Um, it's good to test these builds. That's what I do. You can test them online. I'll provide a link in the comments section after I post this video. And what's good to do is typically to envelop the reactor as much as possible in water. Every surface except for one for power output, which I have here with a high voltage 4 times insulated cable. Reactors can melt down. They produce a lot of heat, so it's typically good not to put them under wood or anything like that, anything that's flammable, because they will light it on fire if something goes wrong. If it goes right, you're safe. Nothing will burn. So let's get started with some basic stuff other than what a reactor is. Oh yeah, by the way, these green light things come in many different colors. They're called lamps. And they're made with redstone, glass, stuff like that. They're fairly cheap and they're pretty cool looking. So I recommend them. They're also powered by redstone. I use torches. You can use whatever you want. Onward. The reactor I have down here has one little access space because I need to touch it. I can go in. I've made this sample layout, which won't. This is a stable, high power output layout, and it should work out okay. What you need to do to start a reactor is either power it with a redstone current, which will disable it, and then you can put your uranium cells in. Regardless, if it's not powered, it'll run as soon as uranium's, or if it's not powered by redstone, it'll run as soon as uranium is fed to it. So I've put 8 in here, and it's currently outputting properly to the MFSU, which is taking its power, taking the high voltage that's coming off of it. Now this reactor, you can see that these things have status bars. The uranium cells will drain over time. The rest of these things will drain a little bit before the reactor is done, and then they'll restore after the reactor is turned off. It's good not to have reactors cycle too often, so you have to give it some time to reset, to cool down, and for these things to return to full status, or else you'll wear out your reactor and eventually blow yourself up, and whoever's near you. Also, speaking of blowing yourself up, I'm inside a bunker of reinforced concrete. It's not quite perfect because I left gaps to show you guys, but it's good if you're worried. It's also a very nice building material, kind of expensive. Not kind of expensive. It's smooth stone advanced alloy, so more expensive than your typical. But yeah, reactors are pretty straightforward. This build I'll also post to the comment section of the video, so you guys can see, can do it yourself. But I seriously recommend enveloping it in as much water as possible, which is what I've always done, and it should turn out okay. This has been a very brief overview of reactors and proper safety precautions. I strongly urge you to put redstone to your reactors. Like I said before, it helps a lot to keep it from running when you don't want it to. Also, you can make cool status lights, so that when it's on, it turns red, or turns green. When it's off, it turns red, stuff like that. I used to have it in the old server, but I digress. So yeah, this has been an overview, a very brief one, of reactors, and if your reactor doesn't explode, you'll have an output just like me. I'll be back with more at another time. Right now, I want to play StarCraft.